welding time. So I'm just gonna tack weld this from the inside to get a start, then flip it, do the rest from the outside. This is held in place by a magnet and this by a chunk of lead, just to keep it perfectly level. And since I'm welding on a wooden table, I want a bit of air between the table and the weld. So that sure is an ugly weld. You probably saw me dipping the tungsten a few times. I didn't get the angle right. Corrosion on the filler rod. Well, I don't do this often enough to be good at it. But once this is sanded down, it will still work. So, good enough. If you're an amateur like me, spend some time making the welding as easy as possible. Clean up some of the oxide. This stainless brush. Place everything with the weld facing up. Makes it a lot easier. Get something in place to rest your hand on. Try the path you're gonna weld beforehand. Make sure that the cable isn't constricting the movement. Practice the angle. Going around the bend like this, the angle needs to change pretty fast. Muffler outlet pipe has been welded and roughly sanded. So next step is sanding with finer and finer paper, and then finally polishing. So after sanding all the way up to 400 grit and then polishing, this is how it turned out. I mean, it's got some dings. You can see the welding, but just shows it handmade. So the print came out great. Now let me show you how this all goes together. So this last thing I printed, I call it the fuel tank spider. It sits on the inside of the whisk body, and it's basically just 4 holes aligned with the holes in the fuel tank, and I threaded them M3, and the bolts for the fuel tank thread into those, so it holds it in place.